number one advice is never give up.
Guys for tuning in to the Mindset Podcast. We have a very special guest of mine, great friend of mine, my very first coach. If it wasn't for this guy, I don't think I would have ever played basketball as serious as I did. So very near and dear to my heart. Now over the years we've transitioned from coach and player to now brother, friend of mine. We do everything. I help him coach sometimes with his kids. So it's been a pleasure of mine to see how you grow and your company and your team grow as much as my life over the years. So this is Coach James Lewis. Just tell me a little bit about yourself. Obviously I can go on and on about you, but tell me a little bit about yourself, how you got started, and how Midnight came to be.
Well, thank you, Gabriel. I appreciate that a lot. Gabriel is one of my spouses growing up. Very phenomenal player, great kid. I mean, as you can see, I like what he's doing, especially for the community. Thank you guys. It's very important to make a difference out here. A little bit about myself. Well, I wasn't born, with the greatest, team, with the greatest, surroundings. I was born in a little town, just a little area, in Prime. I grew up, basketball was just something kids go outside and enjoy doing, what I'm saying? But I just loved it in a different way. So basically, we go outside, we play to get better. But no, I pushed myself forward. I went outside and I got better, and I played for high school and I played for travel teams. And, now I'm doing what I'm doing right now is coaching, and I'm doing it for community because at the end of the day, it's important. We're a non-organization under the state of Florida, but at the end of the day, we like to see the community change. We want to keep kids out of the streets. That's very important to us. We don't want to see kids, getting into stuff nowadays, with the jewels and all the other stuff. We have teens on our own, parents came up to us telling us they're jeweling and doing certain things, that we don't want to see that in our streets. Yeah. This is something that is very serious, especially to our teens, that, sports is really a huge involvement, and I think it comes from the coaching, where we need to push ourselves and we need to make a difference, you know what I'm saying? So it's very important to have a good guidelines, a good structure, and just, talk to them, influence them, get them better.
Yeah, I was just listening to you now, and, we just met right now, maybe 5 minutes ago, and I can already tell that you're a really excellent coach, and I'll tell you why. I heard you talk about why you started, why you love basketball, and to me, what I got from what you just said is it's way beyond basketball. Right, you didn't really talk about skills or drills or anything like that, which most coaches do when you ask them about how do you run your program. You took another turn to it. You said it's about the athletes, the kids, getting them off the streets, right? And that alone, you're making a huge difference by doing that.
Well, I feel like that stuff doesn't come. It's not important at all because being humble and being responsible and being able to, do the right thing is more important than anything else. That stuff comes second. In my program, I'm all about certain things that come first. Let's say it comes conditioning, whatever, certain things like that. Everything else, basketball related, comes after. Yeah. So, you have that guy, have that guideline of being humble. It makes you a whole different player. When you're a good person, I know, Gabriel could tell you, a good person as well because he was raised in a good household. His mom's humble, his parents are humble. That raised you to be humble. It makes you a whole different player. There's certain players that you're like, wow, this guy barely speaks. He barely talks stuff to other people.
No eye contact, nothing
exactly.
Like that.
Those are guys that you want them on your team. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Definitely. Yeah, you can definitely separate those from the rest. Like you said, conditioning. I do remember those days. Back with the suicides, that was your favorite drill back in the day.
Oh man, I hate that.
That was instilled in me from 8, 9 years old doing suicides.
Yeah, the discipline.
Yeah. So I can definitely attest to what you're saying, but we definitely want to take as far as Midnight and everything. I see you guys posting all the time, and you guys are very consistent. Not only being in the community, but with your kids, because I've seen it. I've helped you coach and stuff. Just being consistent. Never taking a day off. You're always having the same message throughout your program. So just tell me, like, I'm sure, you coach little kids, maybe 8 to 12-year-olds. Tell me how it is dealing with, the different ages and how you can respond. Because I feel like a lot of players and coaches, you have to get to know your personnel.
Well, basically different is maturity. When you're dealing with a kid that's 8 from 12, it's obviously a two different, mindset. You know what I'm saying? A kid, they could have still watch what's the shows going on. There's like something different, from Disney, from a 12-year-old that watches like, some others. So whatever 12-year-olds watch, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to hold conversations different. You got to watch what you say. That's very important. I don't curse towards my kids. Sometimes when you get very frustrated, you might throw another word that you're not supposed to, but we really try hard not to say certain things in front of kids because you want to really build that character in them. It's very important to have a strong leadership to these kids. So balancing it out, if I have an 8-year-old from a 12-year-old, we treat them totally different. The work ethic, it's still there, but we want to instill conditioning on the older kids and the fundamentals on the younger ones. So they get the guidelines, they understand how basketball really works. It's just how different ages that explains different things for different kids.
Right, and I love what you're doing because you're essentially building a foundation for these kids, right? They're still young, 8 through 12. You're still in the developing stages, early. So by you teaching them discipline, commitment, being on time, responsibility, that's going to last them for the rest of their life. And that's what happened to me. I think putting kids into sports young is essential, very important, because it teaches you certain traits that will last you your whole life.
Yeah, I know for me, exactly what you said. Like, if it wasn't for sports, I don't think I would have the same discipline that I have now.
100%.
So I feel like, and especially with kids, they're a sponge at that age, 8 to 12. They pretty much take in everything that you say. They remember everything. So
Absolutely.
I feel like at that point, it's the most vital point in their lives where you can instill, those values in them. Not only basketball, because like you said, basketball comes later. I think the basketball skills come older and once you mature, but I feel like the values, the responsibility, the discipline really starts off with that young age.
Yeah. Since you've been dealing with kids for a long time, what's the most important characteristic or trait that you say that it's like you need to have that to be successful in life? Not only basketball of course, but in life in general. One thing.
I think what a kid should have is basically good parenting. Like I feel like we need to have our kids, involved in, other activities as well. I'm a very dual sport person. Like I want you to play something else. I don't want you sitting there, on your phone for more than 3-4 hours. Certain things like responsibility is a key thing for me. You have to be able to be responsible to be on midnight. Like I instill that to all my kids, and parenting is very important. Like I really try to get involved in my kids' parents' lives. Like we do like father-verse kids games.
Okay.
We do like all-star games. We do something. We involve
That's
the kids
cool.
in there. So the parents really know what's going on, other than just my kid gets dropped off every 2 hours to some coach. You know what I'm saying?
You're building a culture.
Exactly. They get to see who. Coach James, Coach Kalen really is, what Midnight it really is, is very a family-oriented thing. We do like other stuff. We take the kids somewhere else, if it's...
I love that.
It's very important to us. We take it in a whole different level.
Because I was going to ask you, how do you separate yourself between all these other basketball academies or basketball trainings? Because there's a lot. I know a bunch. So I was going to ask you, how do you separate yourself? But you pretty much answered it there. I don't know if you want to add anything else.
Well, we take pride in what we're doing. I'm not saying we're the best, but I'm saying in the sense of we push it more than others. I'm not even going to lie. We do certain things that, other coaches wouldn't do, where like sometimes we're really too
Gabe
involved.
knows. Gabe knows. Gabe's been around. He knows.
Sometimes we get too involved, and it could bite us in the butt sometimes. Sometimes we deal with certain things that we're not supposed to deal with. But at the end of the day, we understand why we're here for. God instilled, this greatness that we put in these kids. When certain things go down that we're not supposed to deal with, we just push forward and just take care of it. We're all grown adults, and we handle what we have to handle. At the end of the day.
There's definitely a fine line, because I've seen it firsthand, between coaches and parents, and maybe they don't come from the best parents, so like you might have to I've had great coaches, I've had good coaches, and then those great coaches are the ones that really, step into that father figure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or, they really step up in the role that the kids need to be, be played. Because, again, I've, like you and many other coaches that I've had, have really made an impact on me as the man I am today, and, how I've grown up throughout the years.
Yeah.
So it's really good
So,
that you do that.
From what I understand, you've been coaching pretty much a good chunk of your life, right?
Pretty much. Yeah.
So let me ask you, what's next?
Wherever God leads me, that's number one. Second, I would say, man, as far as I could push it, I mean, I want to take basketball coaching to the next level. I mean, I got offers. Let me tell you the offers that I got over midnight. I got high school offers. I got college offers to coach. I got, all these other offers for me to be there, but that's so much, something midnight, it's mine. We've been going on for 2 years.
Yeah.
That's my first business I ever started. It's really hard to let go, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And next level for me is just, how far I could push myself, if it comes to actually coaching high school, it comes to actually coaching college, maybe the NBA. I want to take it as far as that, but, but at this time, I just love what I do, man.
I love that. And I definitely see the potential that you have. I mean, Gabe's been talking to you leading up to this podcast, so many good things about you and how you were a father figure to him. But, you said something interesting that and I understand it's your baby, right? Like, you want to hold it, and you want to do it yourself because nobody else can do it as good as you.
Exactly.
Right? That mentality, and I totally understand that. But I think sometimes, it's time to, move on. You can still keep that going, but maybe, there's a next level for you to, destroy that. Like you said, maybe high school, and you become the best high school coach in Florida. You never know. I just don't want you to, stay tied to something where you can really fly and, impact thousands
absolutely.
of people.
Like, what you said is absolutely right. What we're thinking is, we want to build midnight almost like a YMCA. We want to expand the organization.
Yeah.
We want to put in, different states if it's possible. We're really dreaming high, you know what I'm saying? So if I don't stay with Midnight as just the main primary coach, at least I have, other coaches under me, and I built an empire, almost an organization.
Exactly.
So what you're saying is absolutely, you want to move on to something different, and then I totally agree. And then that's how life is, you just go for changes.
We're all on different walks in our life, but like you said, you shoot for the moon, you land on the stars, so shoot as for as high as you can. And you'll make it pretty close.
And it's a scary jump because right now you love what you're doing, you're in it, the juices are flowing, and then you don't really know what's next. There's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
So and that's where great people are born, where great leaders are born, where they take that leap of faith, not knowing what the hell they're getting into, and they just go and do it. Yeah. That's very entrepreneurial, like yourself, like you started this business.
Life is a journey, we just go and do what we have to do.
And like Grant Cardone says, 10x, everything 10x, whatever you're thinking. 10 times that.
Yeah.
That's the mentality that Gabe and I have, and I think that you have as well.
No, you guys are good, gentlemen, man. I watch your podcasts, and I'm very fond of what you guys do.
I appreciate that.
That's awesome.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, just to wrap up, again, I'm super honored. This is, pretty special for me because, like I said, you've been my coach, almost like a brother for me, basically more than half my life. But if you could leave one thing with our audience, basketball-wise, life-wise, what is one thing that, our audience is basically young, entrepreneurial, just like us, basically just looking for advice, to go on life. Maybe they're stuck on an idea and they just need, something to just get them over the top. What is something that you could give, your audience, maybe something that you tell your kids to get them motivated?
My number one advice, I'm looking directly at Cameron, my number one advice is never give up. What I'm saying? Some kids nowadays, they'll give up on certain things. They say they don't have the best talent. They just give up, they don't have the best, equipment. They don't have this, certain things like that. We just tend to give up. This is a generation that tends to give up. I have kids I see maybe every other year and, they just give up. That's from something that word give up is a big struggle in our society today. Yeah. And it doesn't even involve basketball. It involves other things.
Everything.
I don't want to get too into that word in sense of I could expand how many times people just gives up in life. When it comes to handling business, when it comes to handling bills, when it comes to whatever it is. But for our kids to understand, you have to push them. If you be like, oh, I want to give up, Dad, you be like, listen, son or mom, I want you guys to keep going. Mm-hmm. You never know. You know what I'm saying?
Consistency.
But at the same time, when I mean giving up, doesn't mean if your kid doesn't want basketball, that doesn't mean he has to play basketball. If your kid doesn't want, your son could be a dancer.
Yeah.
If he wants to dance, let him dance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If he plays basketball, he's like, Dad, I don't want to play basketball, but I want to dance. If he wants to dance, let him dance. Let him keep going. That's not giving up. You know what I'm saying? I think, like, you know, that message right there, I'm just instilling in basketball, but I'm not. I'm instilling in just in every single
In
aspect.
life.
That's huge.
In life. And look, also to go off on what you said, for those of us that are very very driven, very motivated, it's perfect for us because, like you said, our generation is very, I don't know if I want to say soft, but we're more prone to giving up than ever before, I believe.
That's the respectful word for it. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I feel like for those of us that we're hustling, we're motivated, this is perfect situation for us because everybody, while they're taking a back seat, we're hustling. We're going 1,000 miles per hour, and that's how you separate yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's how you separate yourself, by not giving up and doing what nobody else does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like today the new normal is just, you know, trying something in 2 weeks. If it doesn't work, you scrap it and start again. Yeah.
Like Gabe and I mention all the time, like right now, especially in our age, 18, 19, 20, right now we should be failing all the time. We should be trying 1,000 things and failing because we can right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like right now, it should be trying every different thing, every different avenue.
Exactly.
We say it all the time.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, man, again, like I said, we're super blessed to have you on. Super, you know, I can't wait for this episode to launch. Very special, near and dear to my heart. But again, thank you so much for coming on to my
Absolutely,
podcast.
guys.
Thank you, man. I appreciate
Super
it. That was
excited.
awesome.
But yeah, big things to come for the podcast, and even bigger things to come for Midnight All Stars. So
Oh, yeah.
we're excited for you guys.
You know, we love what we do. Midnight All Stars, you know, sponsored by International Finance Bank. You know, this is what we love to do. Okay, we are here for the long run, and no one can stop us.
Real deal.
Sure.